if you look at the verses of fasting in the Quran, it touches first on something related to fasting, which is the recitation of the Quran. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. And then very interestingly, as it goes through some of the rulings, in between, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings in a verse that talks about dua. Right? You will think that شهر رمضان الذي يا الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام, oh, you believe fast the month is an obligation upon you, just like it was an obligation of the previous nations. And then the month that the Quran was revealed, and you had to fast. And the other people who cannot fast, they're exempt from fasting, and the other rulings. And then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end talks about what are the things that are permissible when you're not fasting, right? In the nighttime, like right now. In between, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about dua. And He says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. That when my servants, إِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. When we are calling out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is saying that I am very close to hearing you, understanding you, and responding to your call. Subhanallah. It's amazing that when you are fasting, you're preparing yourself, you're preparing your soul, you're preparing your own self, you're purifying yourself by fasting, getting ready, right? When Musa alayhi salam was asked to, he asked Allah that he wants to speak to God, and God said, you want to speak to me, you want to see me, go fast, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with fasting. And then if we just fast and not ask Allah for some benefits, right? You made all the effort, and then when the time came for the prizes, the winner, and the winner is no longer around, is gone, right? So the hard work that we do, the effort that we do, the prayer that we pray, the good deeds that we do, make sure that we add dua to it, supplication. So what are the timings that are very close to being accepted, where the Prophet ﷺ told us? Number one, I want some answers from the crowd, inshallah. Number one, can someone? Before Maghrib, mashallah. So as you're fasting the whole entire day, the time you break your fast, those couple minutes before Maghrib Adhan, focus on yourself, between you and Allah. Forget about all of your friends, all the people, all of your social media, everything that is so important to you in your life. Put all them all aside. That 5 minutes between you and Allah, it's for you and Allah. And focus on what you want to ask Allah. Talk to God. Talk to Allah. Tell Allah what's going on in your life. Speak to God. Like when you have a conversation with a loved one, you don't just do just a routine question. How are you doing? Everything good? Nice. Good to see you. And no, we talk more. We ask, how the family, and you give your situation. And people like to talk about their situation. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what are the other times that is good to ask Allah other than before iftar? Now?
Before Fajr.
Before Fajr, tahajjud time, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually coming so closer to us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes that He comes down, right? And He's asking, anyone ask forgiveness and I will forgive. Anyone ask for any need and I will give. If we are just sleeping and talking and playing, it's very simple. Take out some time. If you're unable to pray, you're getting up for suhoor, you have 1 or 2 minutes before the time ends, those few minutes that we talked about, keeping it aside as a buffer, right? Those few minutes that you have after your suhoor between the Fajr Adhan, use that to make a dua. Make one simple dua. Have 30 du'as aside for the whole entire month of Ramadan if you cannot think of a lot of things to ask. Have something like already ready, prepared. So spend some time. Have a book of dua. Use one of those du'as if you're unable to ask your own du'as. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's 2. Number 3, Jum'ah. Jum'ah, from the time the call for the prayer happens, the first one, the first adhan, from that until the Jum'ah salat is done. And some of the scholars say that it extends from the time of Jum'ah, Salat al-Jum'ah, all the way to Maghrib Adhan. All the way to Maghrib Adhan. And most importantly, the time in that Jum'ah and Friday, and mashallah, tonight is Friday night, is Laylatul Jum'ah. So the night, mashallah, is included in the day. So from now on, your time starts to make a lot of du'as. But most importantly, the time before Maghrib, right? That 10, 15 minutes, the 5 minutes that we use always before Iftar, add a little more on Friday and do a little more. Ask for a little more. Present your situation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Present the situation of the Ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ask for relief for all the people who are suffering all around the world. So that's, what is it, 3? Okay, number 4. Fourth, after Fard Salah, after every Fard Salah, and before Fard Salah, between the Adhan and Iqamah. Between Adhan and Iqamah. So we came for Isha, we come 15 minutes early, 10 minutes early, 5 minutes early, or we come maybe for Iftar and we stay all the way through. A few minutes before the Salah, spend some time by yourself. Leave everybody else. You have the rest of the night, a lot of time to discuss and talk, right? The devil wants you to waste your time. That's one of the things that he is so good at. And he's very successful also. Take some time out for the salah, the beginning of the salah, before you pray in jama'ah. Spend some time making dua, and you can replace that with 2 rak'ah. Because in salat also you're making a lot of du'as in salat, in your prayer. What else? At the time when it first rains, when it first starts raining, that's the time when dua is accepted. So these are the times and occasions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us these opportunities to make dua. So inshallah, as we are focusing on so many things in Ramadan, let's not forget to focus on making dua and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your needs. And a lot of people say that, oh, the Imam is going to make dua for us, and so and so is going to make dua for us, and the Hajj is going to go for Hajj and make dua for us, and it's going to be accepted. Your dua is going to be the most accepted one, because the sincerity that you can have for yourself, nobody else can have that. Subhanallah. The sincerity that you can have when you are asking and you are begging and you're showing your absolute need to God, nobody else can do that. Inshallah, the dua for your brother behind your back, inshallah, of your brother behind your back is going to be accepted. That's one of the accepted ones, right? But don't just rely on those du'as. Make your own du'as. Have your own. Like, bring your own, as they say. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those people that we always ask. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse that we just read, "Ud'u rabbakum tadarru'an wa khufiyah." Make dua to Allah with humbleness and in quietness, in solitude, in a place that is just between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.